Hi everyone, welcome back to this series on using learning objectives for data visualization. In this video, we're going to put together everything we've talked about in the last 3 videos, talking about our goals, talking about different designs, and evaluation. Let's get started. For this video, we're going to be using an example of a remake. We're going to remake this graph that was originally a challenge from Storytelling with Data. So they have this great community, totally recommend you to check it out. And they sometimes give these like starting graphs where you can then take the data and redesign it. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and we're going to be using learning objectives as part of that process. So this data of this example is of different subscription revenues of, 9 different industries. And we have both a target, which is this gray, and this actual revenue in blue. And so we have these two measures, target and actual, for 9 different industries. So they didn't actually say what the goals were for this visualization as part of the challenge. This challenge was actually a little bit about critique and feedback and remaking it. So they sort of left it open-ended of like, what is the goals? So we're going to make up our own goals. So starting with learning objectives, I've sort of pre-made some here so we can talk about them. So first, I think a good goal would be to recall which industries are above target. There's 3 of them which are above target: tech, healthcare, and energy. And then there's 2 different measures we could use to figure out which one's the worst, because there's a target, but there's the amount that you didn't meet the target or you're underperformed by, like, net amount, like what is this in? By millions. So $2 million you underperformed, but you could also do it by percentage. So like you underperformed by 50%. So those are our learning objectives. We're going to go ahead and open up Tableau, and I've already generated some designs here, but I'm going to walk you through some and talk about it. So first off, don't really love the area chart. Gonna immediately change it to a bar chart. And we have these, let's see, the actual and the target. So I've kept the colors for now. But one thing we could do is just plot the difference. And this is just in dollar amounts. So in millions, the worst one is what underperformed by 2.5 million, and that's government. And tech overachieved their goal by, 1.1 million. But we sort of lose the information here of like what the actual and what the target is in the actual numbers. And we could do by percentage. So this is percent of target achieved. So healthcare, let's go back to healthcare. Oh, this is hard. Healthcare, the target was 1.2 and the actual was 2.1. So they overperformed by the highest percentage. And then all the way down where it's like decreasingly doing worse and worse. Something you might notice is that this like one reference point is like if you had exactly hit your target, you performed at like 100%. Yeah. So what we could do is just do percent minus 1 and sort of take all of these bars and cut it off at 1, and then have the ones that are underperforming look like they're going down. And you also notice maybe that I color coded them, overperforming, underperforming. But this still has like the same problem of actual versus target is missing. Like, what are those actual raw numbers? And we had sort of decided in our learning objectives that we want to know the percent difference, but we also want to know the biggest dollar amount difference. So this isn't giving us all that information. So moving on, we can try a bullet chart. And let's see, I'm going to take the bullet chart and color code it to have the color represent the difference, and reorder them so that the overperforming ones are on the top. And this is ordered by, I think, difference. Of like the dollar amount here. And this could be our first datavis design. It's just like showing the target in gray, showing the actual in that like solid bar. And so this sort of supports the goals of which one's over target and maybe not so specifically which one's under by a specific percentage or dollar amount, but you can definitely get that information from what's given here. And another thing we could do is a dumbbell chart, sort of. I couldn't figure out how to make a line between these two little shapes here, but these diamonds are the target, and the circles are the actual. So if you imagine that we have made a line between these two, it's sort of like a dumbbell. And again, I've color coded overperforming versus underperforming. And so this encodes all of the data of the target and the actual. One other thing that I did here is that I also included like a little heat map table of the difference in percentage. So this, I just decided to do this because that's one of our goals is, to contrast the number of the dollar amount underperforming and the percentage underperforming by the most. So these are our two designs. I'm going to take this as the second design. So here we go. I actually tried with these and didn't just, do a bad design. Although if you did want to compare like a bunch of different designs and, throw one in that is clearly a bad one, if that would be interesting for you, go for it. But I was actually trying to think of like what might be good designs and what might show different things. And maybe you might think that one of these other ones with these like actually just encoding the difference percentage might be better. So like if you wanted to go ahead and try one of those or whatever it might be for your chart, you could have as many or as few designs as you want. Just, I guess the minimum would be one. So then moving on to creating multiple choice questions. We want to create at least one question for each learning objective. And here we have the first objective was the viewer will recall which industries are above target. And so the question that I sort of made up was, which of these industries are above target? Travel, tech, financial. And so when somebody looks at the graph, they should be able to answer this question. Or if somebody is shown the graph's taken away, they should be able to answer this question, which would be a little bit harder. But hopefully if the graph effectively communicates this, then they'll be able to answer this question. And so the correct answer here is tech. There's other ways you could like also describe or make a multiple choice question, like which three industries are above target, and then list three industries in each answer. But I went with this one because it's a little bit more simple and should hopefully, if somebody answers this correctly, hopefully they understand which ones are above target. Okay, and so for the second learning objective, I actually created 2 multiple choice questions. One to sort of address the biggest dollar amount difference, and one to address the biggest percentage difference. And so I'm assessing these in 2 different questions. And so the biggest industry that missed their target by the biggest dollar amount is government. The industry that missed their target by the biggest percentage difference is nonprofit. So I didn't actually give these assessments to anyone, but some technology that I sometimes use, some tools, is Qualtrics I like to use sometimes to actually create the multiple choice questions and in a test-like form to give it to people. You could also use like Google Forms, anything to sort of just put the questions out there, have something where people can respond. And when you think about who you're giving these questions to, something that I've done in the past is use Prolific, which I use for like research studies, and I can recruit like a bunch of random people who are on Prolific who are looking to do like simple surveys, and they earn a little bit of money for each survey. And so you can actually recruit quite a few people from there. And of course, like Prolific takes a cut. But that's also an option. If you're doing something more casual, maybe you just give this to like a group of your coworkers. And you would give, if you have these 2 different designs, you would give like half of your test population the first design and the 3 questions, and then half of another test, like an A/B testing version, where you would give make a second test where you would give them this visualization and these questions. And so hopefully if you do that, and it could be a good idea to collect like, I don't know, 10 responses for each design, and give them all of these questions. I didn't actually do this, but what the results could look like is something like this, where you have each question that the participants or the respondents have answered, and like a column for each visualization design. So maybe, for example, I just made up these data, but in this hypothetical example, we can see that both visualizations like almost all the participants got this first question right. And this first question was, which of these industries are above target? And so we see that like for both of these designs, both of these visualizations do great. We see a little bit of a difference in the second learning objective, which is multiple choice question 2 and 3. And what these hypothetical data sort of indicate is that this first design is better for understanding which, like the dollar amount of how much industries are underperforming by dollar amounts. And this second design is better for the percentage, because if you remember, we've actually encoded percentage here on this side. And I guess further than that, you can sort of see in this example that the respondents did worse on, like only 30% of them got this question right for this design, and 60% got multiple choice question number 2 right for the second design. So if we're looking at like overall which design is better across all 3 questions, then you might want to go with the second design. If if one of these like questions, or I guess in this case it's like two learning objectives, but let's say one of your designs did better on one of the learning objectives and didn't do as good on the other. You can also think about like which learning objective is most important and sort of decide which design to go on based off of that. One more thing that I'll mention is like you can use these results to sort of iterate and use them as feedback to redesign these graphs. So maybe we see that, this design is pretty good, but it still it's not up to par on like multiple choice question number 2, which is like the net dollar amount below target. So maybe we want to add that to the visualization, or, on this little heat map, maybe one column is percent difference, one column is like dollar amount difference. And that could help us if that's something we're trying to achieve. So that's it for today. This is the last video in this little series. And this series was brought to you by me and my collaborator, Eitana Dar. We've worked on several research papers on this topic of learning objectives for data visualization. I hope you've gained some new tools or insights to help you design data visualizations. If you have, please let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway is. Feedback is a gift. So let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching.